order, and it is 9:32. So, Ronki, do you want to take attendance?
Sure. Dr. Valeries. Mr. Gilday.
Here.
Mr. Archer.
The options at that point would be the performance.
Was that Hall?
Plus.
Nope. Lance is here.
Lance is here.
Call him back.
Mr. Hall. Mr. Norton. Mr. Coiney.
Here.
Mr. Lavoy. Mr. Birch.
Here. Good morning.
Good morning. Dr. Birch. And Dr. Benz.
Here, good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, thank you very much, Ronki. Then let's get started with our Pledge of Allegiance.
Oh, we're gonna all stand. And let somebody in all at the same
I'm going
time.
out of camera view.
We're all on camera too.
Okay, is
All right.
everyone ready?
Yes.
Ready. Yep.
I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
One nation.
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right.
All right, thank you very much, everyone. First agenda item is the consideration of last board meetings minutes. Ronki distributed to all of you. I hope you had time to review them. Are there any corrections or points of discussion?
Motion to approve, Madam Chair.
No.
Thank you very much. Do we have a second?
Second.
Sean Coyne is the second.
Thank you, Sean. All in favor?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed, abstentions? The motion carries and is approved. Thank you very much. And then Alice, do you want to provide us with the executive director report?
I would be happy to. I just have a couple of quick updates for today. So I wanted to give you a little bit of a state budget review. We are still working on our review of what passed in the legislative session. We'll share that with you all. So I don't have anything on that today, but I wanted to tell you where we land with the 2026 fiscal year budget, or 27 fiscal year. Where am I? 26 fiscal year budget. So on our operating expenses, the governor's office actually asked for a greater allocation than the appropriations actually gave us, which was is going to be a little challenging for us. We're approved at just about $32 million for operating expenses, and we spent 33 this year already before we've closed out our books. So Office of Policy and Management knows that we're going to be a little challenged in that regard, but we're excited to report that we did get bond funds. So we're hoping that some of our facilities costs can go onto the bond budget instead, which would be really helpful. And then we're looking at, I just wanted to mention that we're looking at a couple of ways in which we may be able to tighten up our spending on the operating side a little bit. We are continuing work we started this spring with North Highlands Group, who assessed our administrative processes and procedures. So we're going to continue to work with them to find efficiencies, particularly around purchasing and utilization of federal grant funds. So that should help offset some of those constraints we have on the operating side. We're also going to look, and it's not that these things haven't been done before, but we're going to give them a new look where we can look to leverage bulk purchasing, as I said, use some of the bond funds, hopefully, and also strengthen some of our project management infrastructure. So hopefully those things will help us run a little bit better. But we are in far better shape than we were a year ago when we walked into the fiscal year with a significant deficit. We still have a deficit going into the year, but it's not nearly as significant as it was the year before. On the personnel side, we are still running over our allocation there as well. But, you know, if we spend this year, the budget is less than we have already. I'm sorry, let me start that sentence over again. Our spending currently on the personnel side is already higher last year than what they have allocated for the year ahead. So we're again walking into a deficit situation out of the gate, and that is just for current staffing. That does not consider any of the additional positions that we think would help us run more efficiently at the administrative level at central office, but also address more of our special ed and English language learner needs at the school level, as well as administrative issues at the school levels. They run really lean on clerical and custodial support, and those are things that ultimately will hurt us in the end. So we're going to continue to advocate with the legislature and with governor's office and OPM to address some of those issues. So I will just say that we are getting a much better picture of our budget and are able to advocate in a more strategic and rational way than possibly in the past. So I think we're in a much better place, and I'm looking forward to continuing those conversations with our CFO and with the administrative team at CTECS. So that's where we are fiscally. And again, when we get back together in the fall, we'll have an even better picture. But that's the budget side of things. And again, the legislative side of things, we still need to do a little analysis to figure out what happened there. But I think there's some good stories there as well. I could stop and ask if there are questions, or I can ramble the rest of the way through and then take them at the end, whichever one you want me to do, Dr. Benz.
Well, one question I always
Sure,
have,
sure.
when we talk about budget constraints and basically not enough funds for doing everything we need to do, are teachers and students in any way negative affected in the day-to-day of their work?
So I think we're in a little bit better place there as well. We're starting the year in a stronger position in terms of our ability to spend some money. So we've actually already gotten their Chromebooks in-house and are getting those things worked on. We're starting to pay our subscriptions for all of our basically online resources for students. So those things are happening this summer instead of inching into the fall this year. So that was it. So we're in a little bit better shape there, I think. We are not looking at reductions in force, so that certainly helps our teachers. And again, I live in a municipality that's going to start its fourth vote on their budget. So I know lots of municipalities are struggling to keep their full teacher complement and other supports. So we're in good shape there as well. But I think any shortage area we have, that it does affect teaching and learning for sure, and just the administration. So I think we're still in a really tight budget situation that does impact the whole system, but it is certainly getting a little bit better as we go, and we're continuing to make the case for more resources. So yeah, but absolutely. Getting better, but still tight.
It's interesting, though. I would say
Jim.
this.
Yeah.
The Board of Education level locally, the legislature traditionally, in almost in every case of my 28 years in public education, does better than the governor. So for me, it's just it's eye-opening to see the legislature. But I get it. The constituent level isn't as great. So I get it, but it's a fascinating difference between local education.
Yes, and I think we were the victims of a fiscal misunderstanding as well.
Mm-hmm.
Our budgeting process was a little confusing, I think, to folks, and so I think they didn't think we needed resources that we needed, and so we'll have to fix that. Even though Office of Policy Management tried to explain it on our behalf, I think that was also a misunderstanding. So I hope that doesn't happen in the future, because you're right. Usually you get a little bump up, not bumps down, and ours was not insignificant. So I do think it was a misunderstanding.
That's an interesting question, if I may ask this. From my understanding is, from my municipality, does this system fall under the MBR requirements like the rest of municipalities. Therefore, if they cannot, shaking your head already. Okay.
I don't know. I've only
ridiculous.
been here
Yes.
a month, but I know what you're talking about, and I don't get the sense that that's.
I mean, you
that's
have
important.
17 independent, well, not independently, you have 17
Right.
high schools serving multiple municipalities. You want to take $1 away from any municipality, they start getting, the sign placards to the PTA going, hey, MBR, MBR, it kind of makes me caution for pause on that. It kind of makes me sick, but all right, fair enough. Thank you for answering that question quickly.
I think on top of that, so a challenge is we're also a district that has to meet the state, like the statutes that are coming out.
Yeah.
And then you'll see that municipalities get money on top of that, like special ed funding, things like that. And maybe I'm
No,
wrong,
no,
we don't
they're
get that.
Right.
So we have to do the same thing that all of the districts do, but we don't get the funding on top of it.
That's district our districts.
Yeah. So we have, again, we're unique and special, and sometimes that's beneficial and sometimes that's a little challenging. So
Yeah.
we have some work to do. I think, again, there's some misunderstanding that either we're eligible for excess funds, which we're not, well, we don't think we are, or that the money follows the student to our schools, and neither is the case. So we have to live on the state appropriation, which is, I think, why they're also trying to figure out what the right number is for us. So we're going to continue to tell them we haven't hit it yet. So we'll, please go
Let me
ahead.
ask one more question. I'm so sorry, but Jeff, Todd's question is interesting to me. Do we get, when it comes to what other school districts get, do we get things like the excess cost special education grant?
We do
Wow,
not. No, we do not. We just get our
That's
state allocation.
fascinating. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, thank you.
Yes, no, there's a lot of work to do there to, and again, I think the state is looking, legislature's looking hard at the special ed cost. And we need to keep making sure that they're thinking of ours, as well. Cause
quickly.
obviously we're not going up, we're going down. So, we gotta work on that.
And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, please. Other than the Department of Corrections, their school district, we're the only state school district. Am I correct?
Correct. That is correct.
That's insane.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Fair
Yep.
enough.
Yep.
Plenty of
So
work to do next year.
Exactly. And we'll do it on an off year when they're not quite so crazed.
Correct.
For sure. Just a short story, and then we'll do more again at a future meeting. You had a presentation back, I think, in March on work-based learning and where we were with that. Happy to report that we had 100 more students this year than the year before, and we had 7 schools that added at least 10 students to those numbers. We saw increases in work-based learning for girls and our students of color, slight, but those were exciting things to see. So we'll get you more information about that, but that's also great. I want to just call out, excuse me, since one more time, Mr. Coyne is on the line. We had an amazing event back in May with Electric Boat and the signing of students. And again, I think a lot of this is the opportunity to do work-based learning and internships with companies prior to graduation. But Electric Boat hired 170 high school graduates to move into their variety of jobs across a number of different trade areas. 76 of those 170 were CTECS students. So just, again, really wonderful to see, again, the result of business and industry partnership. And that's the last thing I wanted to just mention. And again, you might have seen this on a LinkedIn post, but really very excited that we received a $100,000 grant, well, a $100,000 donation from the Connecticut Construction Industry Association. Our good colleague Don Schubert and his executive board voted to support that so that we could expand building and civil construction in our carpentry area. So we're going to have a nice newsletter coming out in the fall through CCIA, and we'll share that with you all. But it's we over the summer will be converting a classroom at Vinyl Tech to support more of the building and civil construction. They will still do carpentry as they have, because that work is still really important. But it allows us to start to look at the civil construction in particular, and the commercial construction instead of just residential, which has been the focus of that program. So just a wonderful example of how, again, business and industry can support our schools Not everybody needs to give us $100,000 check. There's so many ways in which companies have supported our students through scholarships and other things over the course of the year. But that's a really exciting example of how we take business and industry information into our schools as well as resources to make a difference. And we hope to have many more of those to announce in the year ahead. So I'll stop there. And see if there are any other questions for me. And then if not, I will send it over to Superintendent Mike Crocco to give you a few updates as well.
I don't have a question
Okay.
per se, but I got some really good news. I've been working on this issue for well over 25 years and been in this position for 10. I finally got ratio relief out of my shop where it never belonged.
Mm.
It is now going to be in the Department of Consumer Protection. There was a public act that was passed. You're going to be able to have more apprentices go out and work-based learning.
Yes, that is very exciting, and thank you, Todd. And I'm relieved for you that's moving to public consumer protection. And I know that Jim worked hard on that legislation as well, and that we will make the most of that with business and industry for sure, in a very safe
Absolutely.
and appropriate way, of course.
Absolutely.
Thanks. Okay, and anything else? If not, I'll turn it over to Mike, who we're very excited to have at his 1 year mark or 1 month mark.
1 month.
1 year.
Yes. So good morning, everybody. So prior to my role here, I was a high school principal for the past 7 years. And with the rising cost of college and higher ed and all that stuff, one of the things that I would always preach to our staff is, we have to not only get our kids to graduation, we have to get them to graduation with a plan. The idea of going into college and kind of exploring yourself and figuring things out could be very costly depending on where you're going. So getting students to high school graduation and then have a plan for what they're going to be doing next. And I was happy to see that the district has been really proactive in kind of tracking that data and figuring out where our students are and where we can help them as we're going on. So I'm going to give you a little bit of information on our graduating class, or the class of 2025. We had a total of 2,589 graduates. And over the course of the last month of school, we gave out a survey to all of the graduates to get a sense of where they're off to when they leave us. And that was over the course of the last month. So I'll note that, the numbers that I'm giving you are accurate based on that survey. Since that time, things could have changed and people could have developed more plans or got an idea they may not have known at the time of the survey. So of the 2,589 graduates, 2,294 completed the survey, which is about 88%. And of that 88%, 1,056 students are attending either a 2 or a 4-year college. So that's 46% of that 88%. And of those, 513 are attending a college that's related to the trade that they had gone through. So that's about 49%. So 49% of the 1,056 are attending a college with the trade that they left us in. 39%, so 904 students of that 2,294 are currently employed or seeking full-time or part-time employment in their trade area. And of those 478, so 53%, are currently employed, and the rest are seeking employment. So 478 of that 904 have a job and are ready to go. And then of that, 71 students are enlisting in the military. So that's about 3%. So we had about 3% enlisting in the military. So if you take all of those numbers combined, so of the 88% of students that were surveyed, I think it's safe to say that we had that 88% of those students have a plan, that they've graduated with a plan and have a sense of direction as to where they're going. And like I said, this was given a month ago. So since that time, that number could have increased. Yeah. So this is the first time I'm seeing this data. So I think this is a benchmark. So this is what we strive to. I think the goal is always that 100% of our students have a plan when they leave us. So the more we can creep up into that 100% towards that 100% is what we're going to strive for.
That's great. Any questions for Mike? If not, oh, go ahead.
This
Christine.
is amazing data. I always love that if we know what students are doing after they leave us. So first question was 88%, participation rate in a survey is amazing. How did you do this? And the second question is there a plan to catch up with these students, let's say in a year or two, and see did their plans solidify? How are they doing?
So there is a plan to survey an alumni survey, to send out an alumni survey, approximately 6 months from now. So to get a sense of where all these people are 6 months from now. In terms of getting the 88%, I wasn't here when the survey was administered. I think Carrie might be able to help out there, but my sense would be it was planned and mandatory at a specific time of day.
So it was done in person during the school day. Okay, good, perfect.
So I have a quick question. So I agree with Christine that it is a very, very high number of responses and students moving on to higher ed. My question is, with their plan, who at the school, do you know who is helping the students put together their plan? And maybe a survey next year or the end of the school year, when you do this again, asking how the students came up with their plan or who advised them in their plan would be a good question, because it will help you figure out how to get the additional 12%.
So I believe within the schools, the guidance counselors are the ones that work closely with the students as they're getting towards graduation to develop these plans. And that's a great suggestion.
That's part of their SSPs, am I correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And the deans of students are certainly working hard with them on work-based learning and other business and industry opportunities too. So you're right, Tracy. It's probably a blend of people who are helping them inform their plan, if not actually write it down. So
If I can make a suggestion outside of the scope of this board, to have a conversation, Alice knows because she's been party to it. With the Department of Labor, we have something called P20 wins, and we have a lot of data. We've been tracking CTECS students for 10 years now. So post-grad, look, I'm an alum and I've only received one survey since 1986. So that being said, of course, we're going to go and do that. But there's again, you're relying on self-reporting. We have ways of doing these things, through both of you, again, to continue that partnership, because we can find these things out.
Yeah.
exactly.
There's no question about it. So instead of doing it independently, I would, I'm just going to speak on behalf of Dante for this. She would absolutely applaud this partnership. Mike, congratulations on a job. I haven't spoken to you yet, but that data you have is something that people drive me insane about every single day. So with the permission of Alice, you're coming with me.
Very good. Sounds good.
Thank you.
So through College Board, so based on, and this is a lot of the stuff that we did in the LEA. So the 4-year college going students, there's ways through College Board we can get to see if they're matriculating to their second year. So once they get into school, and the data that we see outside of here is that the percentage of students that matriculate to their sophomore year is a lot smaller than the percentage that's going in. So we were always consistently trying to figure out what are ways and what can we do to make sure that the students are in the right place, they're going to the right school, and they're finishing in 4 years as opposed to 6 or 8 years. Again, because that could be a very costly endeavor.
Right. We also want to track the
question.
amount that are going actually into apprenticeships, completing and going either to business school or into business as well. So we could correlate that data for a full scope post-grad, actually.
That's great.
Question, is there any stomach or potential idea of having, people have graduated from CTECS return back to the classroom almost like in a mentor way, or maybe even just once a year come in and speak to, a junior class or a senior class in the shop that they graduate from, and just kind of provide some guidance and talk about their experience and, just an idea.
Yeah, it's a great one. And I think, again, we heard some of that at graduation where the principals were saying, come back for sure. And I think at the local level, that is certainly happening, but we'll, especially because we're with them, we'll continue to encourage principals to think about that. But I think there's a lot of that that's happening already informally. I think the formality, Lance, that you're suggesting is something that would be really beneficial too.
Alice is correct about informal. The majority of evening adult apprenticeship instructors have been graduates of the system and are teaching basically the new workforce going forward.
Right.
Right.
Right. Okay. Thank you all very much. And yes, Todd, you're absolutely right. We have some formal ways through P21 to get the information. And I did just on our last executive board call ask about CTECS data specifically and following apprentices as well as college students and those who have gotten immediate jobs. So we'll keep looking at that as a way to tell our story. Very important.
Excellent.
Okay, Dr. Benz, back to you.
Okay, we get to the report of the chair agenda item. And the first thing I would like to do is review next year's calendar with you. Ronki shared it with you after our last board meeting already, and I hope you got a chance to take a look at it. You see that our calendar is shorter than it has been this year. So the first meeting for the new school year will not be in September. We will start on October 2nd with the subcommittee meetings, and then October 9th will be our first board meeting. That will be in person at a school. I really love these in-person meetings where we get the chance to see the various school locations. It's very inspiring, and I really, really like that. I also appreciate that we do that only every other month, so we don't have to travel and drive all that far every month. So we continue the alternating in-person and team schedule. So the November meeting will then be a virtual meeting. December, we will meet in person again in a different school location, and so on and so forth. So we have 4 in-person meetings this year. The rest is next year. The rest is virtual, and the last in-person meeting will be in May. So not in June as this year. The last meeting will be in May. So shorter to make it easier for you. And also, I think we give the school year time to get into full gear in September before we meet then in October to really have topics, important things to talk about, and then finish it up in May. Are there any concerns, comments, requests for changes from anyone?
So Dr. Benz, I just want to share with the board that we did make one update since you guys received the proposal back in May, which is the February meeting has been updated to reflect February 10th. So there wasn't any conflict with the state board and the holidays for the month of February. So that was the update. So instead of meeting that Wednesday, we'll be meeting that Tuesday.
Okay, good. Thank you.
A motion to adopt the calendar for subcommittee and the board.
Motion to accept.
I'll second.
Thank you very much. That carries. Okay, so I'm looking forward to seeing everyone next year in person and virtual. Please take a close look at your calendars. We know everybody is busy and has jobs to do. If there are concerns and you feel I cannot fit this into my schedule, let us know, because we need your regular and active participation to make sure these board meetings continue to be as powerful as they have been this year. I just wanted to mention real quick, last week was, of course, graduation week, and I was lucky enough to attend one of the graduations, the Goodwill one at CCSU. And Todd, you attended one too. I don't know whether anyone else had a chance to attend one. It was an amazing experience for me to see all these happy and excited students, and really the proud parents. And also see the students, hugging their educators. And it's just an amazing community. And the work you guys do is really, really rewarding. So thank you, Alice. Thank you, Ronki, Michael. We are looking forward to working with you next year. And to all the board members who dedicate their time to this, thank you. And yeah, I'm looking forward to a great next school year with you. With that, I want to open it up to all of you. Anything you would like to share or add?
Yeah, probably this would go to Alice. Mr. Lavoie has taken a position at the University of New Haven. Will he be resigning from this board?
So he is the delegate or the designee for the Department of Economic and Community Development.
Ah.
So that does mean his spot will open up, and Ronki will be talking to the governor's office about that position as well as other vacancies we have at the moment. But yes, we all saw Paul's news this week and are very, very excited for him and for University of New Haven, but sad for us, but know that we'll find somebody else from DECD to represent the agency and the state well. So we'll get back to you. We're hoping to have a full complement of folks joining you all in the fall, because we do have a couple of vacancies. So, but yes, very excited for Paul and for the state, because he'll continue his important work on behalf of manufacturing. Thanks, Tom,
Yeah,
for that
that is
reminder.
exciting.
Yep.
Good. Is there any old or new business we need to consider? If not, we are ready to adjourn this meeting. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So move,
Motion to
Madam Chair.
adjourn.
And we have a second. Thank you very much, Sean. With that, the motion to adjourn carries at 10:04. And I wish you all a wonderful summer, and I see you all again in October.
Great.
Bye,
Thank you,
everybody.
everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.